All right, everybody, welcome to, we're good, episode number 72 of the jankityasspodcast. Once again with me and Tom, we got some more fresh-ish material coming at you. Technically recorded last week, but whatever. And again, a day late, but next week is going to be on time, fortunately. So, let's see. Once again, I don't have any beer. I'm dealing with some bullshit at home, but I do have some good news. I got a full-time job starting next week here, so my schedule is going to be a little bit better, mostly because I'm being paid more for one thing, and I don't have to rely on outside work as much, or working at nights or anything like that. But I'm still going to be working at nights too. But I will be setting aside time for you guys still. So, let's see what else. Also, let's see. I did just get in my new backdrop that I'm going to be using, and then these panels will be up against the walls or something like that. Well, they actually do some real soundproofing use, as they're supposed to. But we'll see. I still have to buy some stuff to redo the the PVC pipes that I got on this thing. Actually, I think I need some more pipes in general. Maybe. No, I don't. I got enough, I think. I'll double check later. Anywho, what I do have for you guys... Well, okay. Also, before I move on, if you haven't done so already, go to the corner, like and subscribe. Multi-Murdy Media. That is the YouTube channel that you're watching right now. You'll get this playlist, the jankityasspodcast, which is the video format. Or if you'd rather just listen, like when you're driving or whatever, this podcast is available on every major podcasting platform. So that's your iTunes, your Spotify, yada, 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 all that stuff. But here on YouTube, if you subscribe, you'll also get the Gutsy Ass Gamer. That is my video games and Twitch and stuff like that, which I'm going to be redoing the little format a little bit later. You won't see that for a couple months, but I do have episodes loaded up already for the next few weeks, and I got some more that I still have to go ahead and do. So I just didn't want to do everything all at once. Let's see, and last but not least, you will get the Poncho's Paint Booth, which is all my hobbies in painting, mostly 40K. I got a bunch of stuff I'm working on still, but then including commissions and stuff, but then I'm gonna have a bunch of videos uploaded, so that's still kind of on break a little bit, but there's more coming, so stay tuned there. And let's see, last but not least, stay tuned to the end of the episode. You will see the the card with all my socials on there, all the links to all my stuff. So that's my Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.com, which reminds me, I gotta edit some reels real soon here, but I just uploaded some more for y'all. And let's see, what I do have today is some articles, which I'm actually kind of liking the idea of just putting them in right away at the beginning, at least in this case, just because I don't have like any beer or whatever, or I'll do them right away at the beginning. So I've only got a few for you this time. Well, I mean, there are always a few, but I don't have as much. So what I'm starting off with today, Bank of America has been illegally shorting AMC stock. So this is after all the news about how AMC, or basically like how stock shorting has been sort of revealed to work, and how or not work, I guess, depending on who you are, and about how a lot of investors have been or not so much investors, but a lot of hedge funds have been basically shorting businesses, which tends to put them out of business, but it makes them a lot of money. And apparently it turns out that a actual bank has been doing this. Fortunately, I, for one, am not a Bank of America user, so whatever happens here won't affect me unless other banks are doing the same, and then maybe that's just kind of coming down the pipe. So, cross my fingers. Up next, more money. This one's fun. A hamster has been trading cryptocurrencies in a cage rigged to automatically buy and sell tokens since June and is currently outperforming the S&P 500. So basically what somebody did is, there's a nice little diagram there. And you can see that, there's a couple cameras set up, and I guess this tube here goes to wherever the hamster normally lives. And it's made to be cleaned out or whatever. And I guess the idea is that the hamster will run on this little wheel from whenever it does. Because it's just doing its own thing. This isn't being prompted by like the user or whatever. But, so this wheel here has a few... around it has like a bunch of switches or not switches, connections around the wheel that basically, depending on whatever position the wheel ends up after the hamster's done running, that's crypto, that is the currency that's in use. And then it has these two tunnels. One is to buy and sell. I guess it's like a motion sensor based thing underneath. And it's basically just automatic. It's all guesswork. Or not even guesswork, just whatever the fucking hamster wants to do. And apparently it's been doing it pretty well. I think they said he started off with something like $1,000 in cash and just kind of went from there. Yeah, it's pretty insane. But let's move on to something more movie related. This one's surprisingly recent. Andy was devastated to read about Snoke's fate in The Last Jedi script. Horribly devastated. Which, if you haven't seen the movie by now already, you should know that. Basically, he gets cut in half with a lightsaber without realizing it. Even though he should use tricked. Those damn, not Sith, but Knights of Ren. And our good old boy, Kylo Ren. You should have already seen this by now. You've seen the movie, but yeah, I get it. I mean, because let's see. Yeah, I don't think he doesn't really have a lot of like living characters at the moment. All of his major characters are dead. I mean, Gollum dead. I don't know about Planet of the Apes. I never saw any of their more recent ones, but I know he played one of them. Snoke dead. Dr. Claw in Marvel, dead. Shortly after this one, I think. I'd have to double check the the dates, but yeah. So they're all dead. All of his guys are dead, basically. But I'm sure he'll get around to playing something new later on. And last but not least for today, so it's kind of good. Disney and Scarlett Johansson settled Black Widow lawsuit. So she got some money, I guess, or a favorable sum or whatever, out of courts. And this is again over the the way that Disney handled the having a, god damn it, what's the word? A hybrid release of the two movies, or of her movie over theatrical and streaming. And the problem being is that they promised that it wasn't going to be a hybrid release, like it was still just going to be theatrical, and they didn't bother trying to renegotiate with her to allow for streaming like revenue, or what's the word, royalties is what I'm thinking of. So she took them to court, and I guess they kind of figured this out, which I don't know, in a way it kind of sucks because, well, like we said before, if they're willing to screw over, someone like Scarlett, they're going to screw over anybody underneath. And while a settlement does kind of help, the fact that it's not like an actual repercussion in court, it's still kind of like they still sort of got away with it in a way. I mean, there's no legal precedent for future cases, at least in this case. But I don't know, whatever. At least for her, I guess it's okay. So All right, coming back in. So that's all the articles I got for you now. I'm going to have some more loaded up here for next week, actually, which I'm going to do right now just so I don't have to do it later. What's the opposite of procrastination? I don't know, but I'm not, well, I actually, technically, I am doing it today, but next week's going to be early, so I will go ahead and leave you now and go back to me and Tom and the rest of the episode. So here you go. Are you listening to this show and thinking, man, I'd like to start a podcast, but I don't even know where to start? Well, Buzzsprout has the answers for you. Buzzsprout is a podcast hosting service that provides a number of valuable resources to help you on your podcasting career path. For one, Buzzsprout offers indefinite hosting of all your episodes and allows you to host as much material as you want, depending on the type of subscription that you opt for. Buzzsprout also provides a means for getting your show hosted to every major podcasting platforms such as iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, you name it. In addition, Buzzsprout also provides various means to get your show monetized through various sponsorship and affiliate programs, links to other paid hosting platforms such as Patreon and YouTube, and your own personal newsroom to learn all the tips and tricks for optimizing your podcast for the greatest return on your investment. If you're hearing all this and you're still interested, you can go to my link below and receive an Amazon gift card for starting a podcast hosting subscription that you'll receive on the second billing period of your podcast journey. Everyone has something to share, and there's no time like the present. Join Buzzsprout today. I mean, they were all kind of stupid in one way or another.
I've never, ever had a good experience with a fraternity aside from watching Animal House. That is it. Like, Animal House created this kind of ideal of what a fraternity is, of this like goofy party, whatever, right? And then every other time, I just feel like it's just a bunch of jackasses who get together and have like really stupid parties and fun. Yeah, exactly. Their definition of fun. It's just like stupid shit. I remember this guy was telling me he was in grad school, but like he had been part of a fraternity, and he always talked about his like fraternity brothers. And I'm like, dude, you talk about these people like they're your family, and he's like, yeah, they are my family, man. They're my fraternity, blah blah blah. And he's like, I was like, okay, it's one thing if you're like part of the same fraternity and use it for networking, but it's like. If that's the case, just use it as a talking point. Don't make it like your whole freaking identity. Like, I remember he told me the story. I forget the details, but like he had to like take care of something, or like he was helping host even though he was a grad and not a senior anymore. And he was like, and then like there was this whole drama thing, and he had to take care of it, and it was all on his shoulders. I was like, this is why. Because if you come off as the guy who's like, I'm gonna fix everything, I'm gonna handle everything, then you're gonna get fucked every single time. Everyone's just gonna like default to you or be like, oh, I don't know, or nothing gets done, and it all sucks. Like, and how I know that? Because I, for years, was always the roommate that handled everything. I was basically the dad and said, all right, give me this money, and I'll handle everything. And I did it just because I liked having control. But then at the end of the day, I was like, man, you know what? Fuck this. Like, I want other people to do this. Screw having control.
And I'm assuming you also weren't like the president or the treasurer or anything like that.
Dude, no, I was just talking about
who's actually supposed to. Oh,
yeah, exactly. I'm just talking about like having general ass roommates, not even like being part of some kind of thing like that. Fuck no. But the thing of it is, I also know myself well enough where I came to that opinion because I went to a college without that kind of shit, and then was able to get older and then judge it. Guarantee you, if I had grown up around that environment, I would have thought it was the coolest shit, and I'd be like this total fucking loser now. Like, I could have gotten trapped in that life. That could have been me.
You've been like, we'll play Warhammer. It's
Dude, I would
I mean
never
it's
have
kind
gotten
of
into
cool,
it.
but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not gay. I mean, just kind of suck each other's dicks. It's not really a big deal. But
no. Now I am going to the RT this weekend,
oh, nice.
even though it's probably only going to be like 4 people. It sounds like maybe not.
They've been doing a better job of getting more and more people on Saturdays. I think the fall and winter times are better. Um, I want to go, but I probably won't be able to because kids. But if my
I'm sure
wife
there's a lot
decides,
of things you want to
dude, dude, you have no idea. There are so many times where it's like, oh, I have this really good investment play I can do, and I'm like, wait, no, kids. I need to make sure we have money in case it goes shits up, as opposed to me just not having a savings account. Because I've had not a savings account for my entire life, but now that I have kids, it's like, well, I gotta make sure I have something back there,
There
just
you
in
go.
case.
But yeah, it looks like it's right now it's just 5 people, including
Well,
Adam, so 4 people,
I'm just having a
and then
person.
Jackson's the
Um,
other guy on our team.
yeah. What is
Maybe.
it? I know that a lot of people don't just pre-register to the app. They tend to show up the day of. So I know there's a bunch of people who do that. So you could get lucky. I bet there'll be at least 10 people. 10 people minimum.
And we'll see.
Hey, we'll see.
And hopefully this will be the time that I don't completely forget my whole entire unit of immortals at home.
That would be good.
'Cause,
It's called
yeah,
setting up your. It's called. I do this every time. I get Battle Scribe, and I get my bag of shit, and I go through Battle Scribe. I'm like, yeah, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. The most I've ever not brought is a single model. It's still astounding to me to this day. That's the worst that I've not brought. No, one time I forgot a tank.
oh, there you
One
go.
time, one time I forgot a whole ass hammerhead.
Dude, I still remember the one when what was it? Yeah, at SoCal when Miles didn't know about the rule of 3.
Oh yeah, and he had to
Remember that?
panic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to like panic swap, but it ended up like being really good for him. And he was like, "I'm really glad I did that because this is a way better list."
What was it? He just got like another Thunderfire, I believe,
Yeah,
wasn't
so
it?
he
Yeah.
ended up running 3 Thunderfires instead of 2 because he ran 4 of something else he couldn't, and it ended up being like a
Is that
way better
Devastators?
list. Yeah, it ended up being a
Yeah.
way better list for him. He ended up teching into something that ended up being huge later in that edition, which was hilarious.
And now that entire army's gone.
Yep.
Pretty much.
As well as that general for all we know.
Yeah.
Boy got pistol whipped into the next millennium.
But no,
Never
no.
to be
What
seen
happened
from
in
again.
yeah, right. No, what happened in my case was because like I took everything out that wasn't painted at all, and I'd kind
Oh,
of I worked on most of the stuff up to the point where like all the major details were done, but I just forgot about the immortals,
yeah.
and they never entered my mind until like a couple days after the tournament. Like I saw him sitting on my table, and I was like, ah, fuck.
That's
Whoops.
pretty funny.
I am debating on if I want to get that Black Templar's box.
That
That
looks
comes
like it could
out.
be pretty freaking solid. I don't know. I think it just depends on the army rules, obviously. I mean, that's always a factor, right? But like, I don't know. It could be solid. Could be legit. Um, I mean, especially too because they have like basically the first version of Primaris Scouts, neophytes. That's kind of cool. Um,
Hopefully the only version.
yeah, I know, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
No, they'll Primarisify everything eventually. They'll never truly get rid of the first gen Space Marine stuff, or third gen, I should say. But no, it's gonna you're not gonna see anything new or supported for it. It's gonna be all Primaris all the time,
Hell yeah. As it should be.
as it should be.
But my thing is the only thing I don't really care for is that there's the old Redemptor in there.
You mean the thing I'm literally painting right now?
Yeah. Fuck that thing.
Hey man, I've got a newfound like for this thing. I haven't specifically worn one yet, but I did some numbers and like looked at some stats. It's like not bad now. It's like pretty good for what it does for its cost.
Hmm.
And it's beefy. My new list is just beef. Just lots of beef.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe I will try it out. Plus, I mean, at the very least, I guess I could like do it up for another episode,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
it's actually
try and
it's a
get rid
fun
of it.
it's a fun model to paint too so far.
What was that? I also have I have one of the what's the one where it's not a real dreadnought, but it's just a dude sitting in there.
Oh, and Victor.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
one of those that I still have to do up.
yeah, I've got like 3 of those boys. That was my Iron Hands list that I ran at SoCal. It was a forward gang rush of Invictors with a bunch of
Infiltrators, I think.
it was infiltrators, and I had whirlwinds too, and the Scorpius whirlwinds before they were nerfed. Dude, that list fucking murdered some people. It was amazing. And then I ran into Knights, and it was like, goodbye 5-1, hello 4-2, my old friend.
I think I did yeah, I did Knights at that one too. No, I was playing Chaos back then.
Oh yeah, you were running the possess bomb, right?
No, I was doing the it was the triple discos.
Oh, triple disco, that's right.
And a bunch of obliterators or whatever. And then just other...
I remember that list.
Oh yeah, and I had the chain guns and the drill. That was a good time.
Yeah.
With Abaddon.
Oh yeah, the termite. Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah.
That was a fun list you had.
Dude, I do feel bad because like my last opponent was Knights. And like he just did not understand how the discordance worked.
Oh no! And so you just wrecked his
day. I remember like first turn he came at me with a gallant and I just like swallowed it.
Yeah. I eat vehicles.
Yeah, he was just kind of a bit of a sad boy after that, but you know.
Yeah. Then he started sad emo boy music.
So I paid too, so
yeah.
I don't really do the friendly games.
I mean, I'll be friendly enough if you're not an asshole, but I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna pull my punches. I'm like, no, I am gonna grind you down to the ground, but I'm not gonna be a jackass about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you notice that like that's like what most people's idea. Whenever somebody says like, "Oh, I thought this was a friendly game," is in like, "Oh, why aren't you letting me do whatever I want?"
Yeah, exactly.
It's like because there's a rule book.
Yeah, there's a rule book, and last I heard,
and I'm better at this than you are.
Yeah, it's got the word tournament in it, so
yeah,
I don't really accept your premise.
But yeah, and I'm also excited to see like what all the new Templar characters do because they have like 2 other special characters in there now.
Yeah.
Or character types. They were saying like, yeah, cause like for the like the Marshal and the Castellan. I know like both of the descriptions that I saw, I was like they're kind of like lieutenants, but they also have lieutenants. So
it could be that maybe they're like special versions of lieutenants, because like something that I think would be kind of cool would be like if they made it so certain Black Templar characters can recite a litany even if they're not a chaplain. So basically you get a bunch of chaplain bonuses all across your army, even though you technically only have like maybe 1 or 2 chaplains.
Or maybe like I could see if one was like a beacon for a litany or something like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or just like auto litany or something like that, or litany expander. I don't know. I mean, there's any number of things they can do. I'm curious what they do with Grimaldus though.
I would assume that he would still give the vulnerable bubble.
Yeah, probably.
I would assume so because he still has like his little shits that follow him around too.
Yeah.
So
that was funny. I saw a meme where it was like, bro, can I at least have a turn with the pole? Why do I gotta lug around this giant piece of rock?
What was fuck? What was the joke of that in Life of Brian? I haven't seen that one in so long.
Oh, dude, I don't even remember either.
It's like, get your own Jesus.
Something like that. I can't remember.
Let's see. Speaking of movies, actually, Assume you saw Shang-Chi yet?
No, I haven't got a chance to
Oh,
escape yet.
that was a good
And
one.
I might wait till it's just streamable on Disney Plus, which I think is actually the end of this month.
Yeah,
Because
it's
since it
pretty
was,
soon.
yeah, so there is that. So I did see a movie. Oh, what was it? I saw something good recently. Did I tell you I saw Kate, that Netflix movie?
Uh-uh.
So it's like
I'll have to check
it's
that one
this,
out.
it's this assassin played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who I will kiss the ground she walks on because I think she's gorgeous. Um, and she plays this assassin in Tokyo on a job, and this is literally the tag of the movie, so it's not spoilers necessarily. But she gets poisoned, and she has 24 hours to figure out and get revenge, etc.
Hmm.
Kind of plays like a girl power John Wick, but like in a really good way. Like she's her own character, you know. Like she's she's not just like the movie isn't just a style knockoff to make you feel like you're something in the same universe. It's just like, oh yeah,
It's
here's
a
this
half of
badass
one.
assassin. Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like it's here's this like for example, a movie that did that was Gunpowder Milkshake. So Gunpowder Milkshake has got Karen Gillian in it, and it was a fun movie. It was stupid. It was fun, but it felt like it was supposed to be like girl power or John Wick, and it had some great scenes in it, and it had some really awesome good moments. But it still felt like it was trying to be something else than itself, even in certain moments. And I was like, oh, this movie's like a solid B, but like it could have been really close to an A minus. Like Kate is an A. Like I totally loved that movie. It felt like it was its own thing, and it had its own version of like the ridiculous moment of being like, you know, it's clearly own movie with also these over the top action scenes, but without overdoing it or being too much. Like Nobody, for
Hmm.
example, Nobody was clearly like another John Wick esque film, but it was also very much its own film. Like, and the character felt like very much his own character, you know. So
It kind of
that's
se-
that's my sense on that.
it kind of seems like they saw Birds of Prey and were just like, we want you to do that, but you're the main lady or whatever.
Was Birds of Prey even worth it? I don't. I remember. I
Yeah, it was a
remember
good
wanting.
movie.
I wanted to see it because of her,
'Cause
honestly. But
yeah, she played their own version of the Huntress, which is non-canonical, of course,
yeah,
but
well,
you know, whatever. And I think I remember seeing that they want to do like a series with the girl who played the Canary, Black Canary,
mm.
as like her own thing.
The like Black Canary from the Green Arrow show, or Black Canary from that.
From that,
Okay,
yeah, the that CW stuff. That's
yeah, it's all
forget
popcorn
that.
bullshit. Yeah,
Yeah. Although they could just say it's another universe,
right.
as they
Yeah.
do.
No, I mean yes, they do. I mean they've got Flashpoint. I mean they've got the Flash to create their own multiverse if they need it.
True. And I know that the Robert Pattinson Batman is just going to be, they're like, oh, that's just Earth 2.
Yeah,
Like, all right.
cool, man.
Which
I know.
is canonical, of
Yeah,
course. So there you go.
there you go. I mean, it still kind of strikes me as funny as like DC versus Marvel, starting back since Iron Man 1. Like, DC's like, all right, so we just released a bunch of sweet ass Nolan films. What do you got? It's like, all right, well, we got John Favreau and Iron Man 1 and 2 and Captain America. Oh, well, we got this new thing. And then they're like, oh, we're going to continue expanding our universe. Here's a couple new movies. Oh, well, we got this new thing. And it's like, I feel like they just totally missed the fact that people love the world building shit, especially when it culminates in like What If, that Disney Plus show, which is so freaking good. Like,
Yeah, it's
like,
definitely getting better.
oh my gosh, the last couple episodes have been amazing, and I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously, but it's just been so dope to watch. And part of the reason why it's so fun to watch and it's got these cool moments is because there's this huge buildup behind it. I mean, you could watch it and get some enjoyment out of it, but when you go through everything to get to that final point of being like, holy shit, what is happening? Like, that's when it gets really cool. That's when like the universe feels really just interconnected and fleshed out and everything. And it makes you excited for other shit too. Like it makes me excited for fucking what's its name? Multiverse of Madness or No Way Home or anything like that. I still have not seen the new Venom movie yet. I know that's out.
I did. It was
yeah,
it's kind of dumb.
I heard it. Yeah, I heard the movie's like and then it has like an insane stinger at the end of the credits or in the credits. Apparently, there's an after credits scene which is like like an oh shit moment.
Yep, there is.
Okay, well, but, I won't. Don't spoil it because I do want to watch it.
But yeah, the actual movie itself, it felt rushed.
Oh, did
Definitely. It? Yeah, and they like some of their cinematography decisions. I didn't really like because they did like a lot of like close up action, shaky cam, short shots, type of thing. Which I remember was one thing that happened a lot with back whenever I was working at CRD, and a lot of our or a lot of the times our producers were actually on set, and for different movies that they were working on, and would actually kind of advise on what would work best for converting stuff to 3D. And what that usually ended up being was like a lot of like the more action sequency stuff. They would say like, oh yeah, if, just make the shots like short and or zoomed in, and then it's easier for us to kind of meet the turnaround time for actually putting the finished stuff out. But then whenever you actually watch it, like all together, it's like you're not really seeing anything.
Yeah, it was more like they lost the whole concept of the whole by making a play on one of the parts. I mean, that's part of the reason why directing is like actually generally much harder than people think of, because it's the person in charge of the movie who literally has to have the entire vision of the movie in front of them. I mean, sometimes that's the executive producer. If your executive producer is like fucking amazing, like Kevin Feige or Jon Favreau or the other dude in Mandalorian, what's his name?
It's Jon Favreau, isn't it?
No, it's Jon Favreau. It's another dude, Dave Filoni.
Oh.
Like those guys have like a freaking vision, and then the director can just focus on like the cinematography and the actors, like, which is generally what the director had to do in the first place, right? But yeah, it's just this whole thing now where like there's so many moving pieces. Like you need to really truly have a vision of everything that's going on in order to make something like, if you're trying to like actually legit, like it's one thing if you're going for a money grab, but if you're trying to make something actually legit, that's much harder.
So I know, like one of the one example that stood out to me a lot that they really did this, and that I didn't really like, was whenever I way back whenever I worked on the first Avengers movie, and I did most of that sequence where when they're all fighting in New York and Thor comes down on Stark Tower, and they kind of duke it out for a bit. So I did like most of those shots, but you'll notice that they were like all like really zoomed in and really quick, like half a second, just like throwing a blurry punch here and stuff like that, and it's like nobody's gonna see any of this. Like you'll get like a vague idea of the shapes and in 3D, but like I would have rather worked on just like one long shot of them, throwing fists and shit.
You wanted to work on some cool shit.
Yeah, right. Not that I wasn't already, but
Yeah. Do you feel like that industry has kind of died out?
Oh yeah, it's. I mean, they're almost the ones who are still around that moved up to Canada. They've shifted more on working on like, animation and like
Oh, interesting.
traditional compositing and stuff
Oh,
like that.
wow.
I think they still do like the occasional 3D movie, but I'm not entirely sure.
Well, I'm more surprised that like you would like they wouldn't have pivoted to like VR games or shit like that, where I feel like that might have been more translatable. But then again, that's just me thinking about it with no technical knowledge.
Well, no, because that's I don't know. That's something that if you're already if it's like a video game and you're already doing the CG, if you have the know-how, that's not really something that you have to farm out to other people
I guess it's fair.
to do at all. Yeah.
Or like, why wouldn't they have become their own studio that did that? You know what I mean? Like pivoted
Yeah.
and been like, was 3D movie studio is now 3D game studio.
Yeah, I mean that yeah, 'cause that would be yeah, that wouldn't really be hard to do at all because you would just have to be like, all right, I'll render the foreground cameras this way
Yeah.
and the background a little bit differently, and bing bang boom, done.
Bang, bang, boom.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think I've ever played a VR game.
I've wanted to play Half-Life Alyx so bad. It's the one where it's part of the Half-Life series, hence the Half-Life in the title. But it's supposed to be really, really well done, especially because it's made by Valve, and like Valve makes so few games anymore, but every time they do, it's just like a freaking banger. It got really high ratings, I remember that, but I really wanted to play it.
I wonder if it actually continues on from the original or
So the irony is it's actually a
doesn't.
prequel. Yeah, so it I think what it does is it tells you the story of how Alex gets to where she is before she meets Gordon. Or I feel like it's a sequence of time between meeting Gordon and like, oh, something happens and she had to run, and like, he does his thing and you get separated, and then it's like what she did in the interim. But I don't think it's that. I think it's before Gordon. And I got super glue on this crate.
Nice.
Fuck. I was afraid of that. Whatever.
But definitely not a continuation as everybody wants.
Yeah, I know, right? I know that they have confirmed multiple times there's technically one person still working on Half-Life 3, but that's just, I think, just to keep the file open. They'll do it when they decide to do it.
I've got an idea. Shut the fuck up, Tony.
Yeah. Go put it in the box with the rest of them. But sir, this leads to the incinerator. Did I fucking stutter? I mean, they make so much damn money doing all kinds of other shit that like they don't even need to worry about it. And I bet you their game design team is like multifaceted. So it's like, I'm a game designer and also I do this other insane shit. So I can like work on stuff when we're not working on games.
Yeah.
I mean, that would just be smart, but I don't know. I always thought it'd be cool to work for them, but that was like, what was that?
A while ago.
Yeah, I was like 15 years ago. I was thinking about that just because I like their stuff. And now I definitely can't get in. I had a better chance getting in 10, 15 years ago on an experience than I do now.
Back before all the video game studios started getting dinged for harassment and shit.
Well, I feel like, it's kind of painting your own tombstone if you let yourself become that, It's
you mean as a studio or as a person?
Yes, I mean ultimately
Yes.
it just boils down to the golden rule, right? It's like, don't treat people badly because you don't want to be treated badly. And I'm rephrasing it because the golden rule is normally treat others as you want to be treated. And there's always going to be some asshole who's like, you kidding? I'd love to be hit on all day. And it's like, that's why I do it. I want to give that to other people. It's like, no, you fucking moron. And so so like any place that doesn't actually like, it's like they go corporate, they get a bunch of people, they have their own HR team, and then they just don't try to do anything about a correction of that, and it's like obvious enough where someone should have done something, or people whose job it is to find that shit don't do anything, and then they get all these bad press. It's like, well, you kind of had that coming if you didn't do anything about it, man. Like, it's like, oh man, I got bit by this iguana that I was showing raw steak to on my hand for an hour. It's like, do you need me to unpack that for you? And then they're like, this is the weirdest analogy ever. And I'm like, yes, it is. But that's what I did.
Well, I mean, it's a little more complicated than that because it would also be
Yeah.
like this iguana pays for my life. It's like how do you
Huh.
get in trouble the person who's like basically paying you
I thought
and
iguana.
owns everything.
I thought the iguana was the 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 bad situation that you let yourself get into.
Oh no.
Well, then we have clearly a difference of reptilian opinion.
Well, I mean, all reptiles are bad, obviously.
Um,
Just look at the government.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say there are some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that would like to have a word with you.
No, turtles are amphibians, aren't they?
God damn it, you're right. Fuck. Doc Connors is technically a good guy.
Turtles versus tortoises. I have no idea.
Doc Connors, he's a good guy technically. He's a lizard
There you
good
go.
guy. I got one. Godzilla, depending on the movie, he's a good guy.
It's not a guy.
Guy.
You're not my guy, friend.
You're not my friend, buddy.
Guyzilla.
Godzilla. That's Scott. He's a dick. Fuck you, Kyle. God, South Park. They got, what is it? They signed on for another 6 seasons and a movie, which is
I can
insane
believe
because
that.
it's also like, bro, we haven't had a full season since before COVID started. Like, what do you mean you just got signed on for another 6? It's like George R. R. Martin saying he has another 7 books planned up for, like, freaking Game of Thrones. It's like, what the fuck bullshit is this?
Oh, he's got to finish his first 7,
Yeah,
I guess.
I guess. I mean, I'm no bookologist or anything, but
You know what I never finished was the old Wheel of Time series.
you know, I've known about that forever, and now that there's a show coming out about it and it looks cool, I'm like, damn it, I should have fucking read that forever ago. And then when I was like, oh, I'll just look up the books and how many there are, and it's like there's a ton of books and they're all like 1,000 pages. I'm like, oh shit. Well, I'll read that when I'm 45 or never.
I want to say I got to like book 8,
Oh damn.
I think. I got him. This was a very long time ago.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, it kind of feels like the way the original author was writing it, like he never actually figured out kind of how he wanted to finish the series or if he wanted
Yeah.
to do it at all.
Interesting.
And then I believe he died, and then it was just kind of left up to his son to try and pick up the pieces,
Yeah.
so to speak, at the end. And I think there's like spin-offs and stuff too.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
But
I mean, I know it's a massive, it's like one of those big ethos universes that people actually give a shit about and, read and write books. I mean, clearly it's getting its own Amazon series, right? Like,
actually not
but
that big, but yes,
yeah,
kind
still.
of.
I mean, you're making a TV show about a very dense like fantasy universe from what I understand. So, I mean, that's got there's some commitment there.
Yeah. I mean, from my experience, like the first 3 books were like really good and progressed
Yeah.
a lot through the story, and then after that, it just kind of got really trudgy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I think like half of one book was like one of the characters basically just going from like in a caravan from one country to another or something like that.
Wheel of My Travels time.
All right. Busted wheel.
Heyo.
And of course, like the
What
bad.
is this? Oregon Trail. Heyo.
Well, it'd just be the same book reprinted over and over and over again.
Every time you open the book,
Yeah.
you died of dysentery.
And then, of course, like the main bad guy never even really shows up. At least not in what I had seen so far.
He's just always alluded to.
Yeah, it's like one of those. It's like the Emperor, but evil.
Yeah. For me, I actually, so we recently got Apple Plus, and part of the reason we got it is because it's like cheaper than every other streaming service. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Seriously? It's like cheaper than Hulu and everything. It's like $5 a month. I was like, oh shit, I would have done this forever ago if I'd known. But I'm glad I waited till now because there's not as much stuff as I wanted to watch until now on there. But one book series I'm really excited to see the adaptation of, and I haven't looked at too many reviews just to, not torture myself, is Foundation. Because I read the Foundation books when I was a kid, and I fucking loved those books. I got super into it. And I read like at least 4 or 5 of the novels. I think there's maybe 6 or 8 total, but I read almost all of them. I just kind of want to see it because I also just love huge sweeping space operas, right? Like that's the shit. That's my shit right there, I mean, hell, like that's why I'm in 40K right now,
I take it that's only on Apple.
Yeah, that one's only on Apple, but it's an Apple series, but I'm pumped to see what they do with it. I mean, I'm sure it's available at your local Pirate Bay.
Yeah, right. There's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
That is a name, yeah, I have not heard quite some time.